Okay, Dane, we have a proposed financing of an infrastructure improvement. If you care to
All right.
present that to us.
This is notice of the public hearing given that on April 19th, 2016, the Board of Supervisors of the County of Lee will conduct a public hearing which may be continued or adjourned as required under applicable law in accordance with Section 15.2-2606 of the Code of Virginia of 1950 as amended, with respect to the adoption by the Board of a resolution or resolutions as may be necessary or convenient regarding the proposed financing of certain infrastructure improvements. The purpose of the financing includes design, construction, improvement, site work, and equipping for a waste transfer station at 720 Bus Shop Road in Jonesville, also comprised of recycling handling facilities, a scale, a tipping building, a scale house, and office space, and B, an addition and renovation to an administration building located at 486 Industrial Drive in Pennington Gap, also comprised of demolition of an existing building at the courthouse used by the Virginia Cooperative Extension Office and related site work improvement and paving, altogether with administrative and financing costs collectively called the project. The county plans to fund the project through a lease revenue bond to be issued in a principal amount not to exceed $1,500,000 for the project. This amount is in addition to the sums to be issued in order to refund at a savings to the county funds borrowed earlier for capital projects. The public hearing, which may be continued or adjourned, will be conducted at 6 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard by the Board of Supervisors in the General District Courtroom located on the second floor of the Lee County Courthouse. Interested persons may appear at such time and place and present their views, whether orally or in writing, or submit written comments prior to the hearing. The county may set time limits on speakers and other rules and procedures for the conduct of this public hearing. Mr. Chairman, as is indicated in the body of that, this is for the financing for the new transfer station and the improvements, addition and improvements to the building in Pennington to be used as the offices for Virginia Cooperative Extension. Both projects are underway. This public hearing in particular is in regards to the taxable portion of the loan that will be issued for this. And the loan is being structured through the IDA of Lee County on behalf of the Board of Supervisors. The taxable portion of the financing will be approximately $410,000, and the balance of the issue of this $1.5 million, if we do $1.5, it will range between 1.3 and 1.5, depending on what the board decides before the loan is closed. But the remaining balance of that will be non-taxable issue, which will yield a lower interest rate. In conjunction with this loan, there will be a refinancing of the loan that was taken out about 9 years ago on the new social services building. We have an opportunity to refinance that now at a lower interest rate, which will yield considerable savings to the county over the course of the payout of that loan. So the purpose of the public hearing tonight is just to allow anyone in the public to comment on this proposed financing. There'll be no action taken on this tonight. I do expect formal action to be taken by the IDA at their May 5th meeting, and then there will be formal action to be taken by this board at our regular meeting in May.
Okay, open the floor for comment. Okay, if there's no comment from the floor, any comment from the board at this time? Okay, close the floor for comment. Okay, department reports. We have their building inspector, Keith Herring, tonight.
Good evening. The building department inspection for the first quarter of 2016, we had 1 new dwelling permit, no additions, 2 remodels, 38 service, electric service and heat pumps, 5 manufactured homes, 11 were listed as other, no businesses and no duplexes, for a total of 57 permits. Permits issued by the districts, there were 12 in Rose Hill, 2 in White Shoals, 14 in Jonesville, 16 in Rocky, and 13 in Youngcomb. Total permit fees were $6,369.07. And the total contractor's tax collected was $864.08. Building department had 140 construction site visits with 0 violations for the quarter. Any questions?
Are you studying?
Yes, sir.
Asking that question the
I
other
am
day.
too. Good? Question?
Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. Next, Mr. Bailey, 911 office.
Evening, Chairman, members of the board. First off, wanted to start off my report for the call counts for the month of March. The total amount of calls into dispatch was 4,652. The total of 911 calls that came in for the month of March was 519. And out of that number, 372 of those were wireless 911 calls. At the last meeting that the Southwest Virginia group held, that was recently discovered that there was a minor mistake on the contracts, and I had this item as an agenda on this month's in case the contract with Intrado needed to be re-signed. Of course, I found out late last week that the mistake does not affect Lee County's contract, as the mistake was about the number of positions that the Wise County Dispatch Center uses. So we're good with how our contract is as is. Near the end of March, Code Red sent out an automated message informing residents to sign up for the free weather alerts and county emergency alerting system. The call went out to 3,722 numbers. Currently, only 211 people have signed up to receive phone call alerts. 109 have signed up for text alerts, and 43 people have signed up to receive email alerts. I encourage more Lee County residents to sign up either through our website or by calling my office to sign up. The new radio antenna has been installed on the communication tower on Lovelady Gap. Due to the tower's isolated location, keeping communication circuits working has been a never-ending struggle. Two-Way Radio Incorporated has suggested a solution that will work similar to Thomas Walker's radios to help increase broadcasting for the rescue squad frequencies on the far eastern end of the county. I have submitted the quote for this solution, and I believe my budget has enough funds to cover the costs. At the time, I did not know if I was going to have to request supplemental funding or not for the project. And part of the push for getting the radios upgraded on Lovelady is to assist with getting better radio transmissions for Jasper's new licensed rescue squad. Of course, on a side note, Two-Way has today installed a demo P25 radio system to be used to see if there is any significant improvement in radio quality. And previously I had reported where I was seeking grants to replace laptops for the rescue squads and to replace the radio consoles and dispatch. I found out a week before the deadline that the grant requires a 6-month quote for all the items to be purchased, and regretfully, the needed quotes never arrived, so I was unable to apply for grant funding for this spring, but I do plan on applying this fall. And lastly, I am wanting to report that I have been unable to get any sign work done, as the county's current vendor has not been returning any of my numerous messages. I have spoken with the county administrator about this, and I believe a notice will be sent out requesting for them to respond, or their contract may be terminated. I'm finished with my...
This Code Red Citizens Alerting System, exactly how's people getting notified about this?
Well, there was a call that went out. Of course, I don't know as to where Code Red pulled their phone database. They said that they would be able to get access to the records of the phone database. I'm assuming they got it directly from the phone carriers, but I'm still trying to find out, because when I just saw the numbers just today, seeing as to how low the numbers were, I'm still trying to work with them to try to increase the amount of calls that it goes out to further notify the public. Between that call and the public announcement that I gave to the paper, there have been a lot of calls that's come into my office, and I've probably signed up anywhere between 50 to 60 people over the phone over those couple of weeks when after that went out.
So you've done a public service announcement in the
Yes.
paper? I'll run that again.
Okay.
This ain't like calls. And the Love Lady Gap antenna, was that anything dealing with the prototype that the sheriff's department was wanting to look at as far as checking the radios, or is that just strictly for the rescue squad?
It's not really part of that demo thing. It's just trying to improve the quality up through there. For the longest time, we've been struggling with keeping the radio working up on Love Lady because of where all the radio transmissions go through phone line circuits. And that last stretch, which is from that tower site to the last communication hub, is about a 4-mile stretch. And it seems like every time I call it in, it might work for a few hours and it's back down. And I've just had constant trouble tickets open with that one. So the suggestion that Two-Way had is to set up a kind of a dummy microwave system, a radio from Hunter's Gap to transmit to the Love Lady, to then be rebroadcasted out from that location.
Relay there.
Yeah, pretty much kind of like a relay.
Is that on the cell tower?
No, that's on the actual communication tower that we have up there on Love Lady before you kind of west from the cell tower.
The county bought a piece of property there a few years ago on the north side of the ridge top there. It's about 3 or 3.5 acres that we installed an antenna on. It's primarily to dispatch emergency traffic. It's not used by the sheriff's office currently for radio transmission. It's just for emergency dispatch.
Is it hard to get to?
I would not go there after dark. It is a hike in the woods.
I'm not going to have you disclose where it is.
It's about 100 yards from the highway, but you have to walk into the woods.
Okay.
Every time I've sent a technician, they've always asked us like, when's business hours? And I said, I wouldn't send a technician up there after dark.
What about communications up there in Keoke's? Is there any
I can just barely hear you, sorry.
Keoke's communications problems that they have up there? Are you addressing those? And I'm guessing St. Charles probably has some same issues.
Yeah, sadly to say, both up in the St. Charles and Keoke area, we really don't have anything up there. I know that Keoke had some equipment up on the water tank, and of course it had to be tore down when they demolitioned the water tank up there, and I think they've tried to put the antenna back up there. I know we have communication problems at both of those locations, but we really don't have any communication tower sites up there in those areas.
The Love Lady Tower could help with that issue. That was one of the original intents of it as well, not only to serve Jasper, but to be a closer transmit point to Keoke.
But it's one of those we really won't know as to how well it may broadcast until it's up and running.
So no results as of now.
Not yet. I mean, we just got the
Yeah.
quote just last week and everything for it. So I mean, trying to get it approved, and I don't know how long it'll take for it to get installed. Anything else?
Anybody else?
No, I've got.
Steve? No. Okay. Well, thank you, Al.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Come on up, okay? Best part of the evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to come and share with you some of the activities from the Extension Office. I'll start with the Agriculture and Natural Resources Agent's report. These are highlights of her programming and accomplishments. She continues to work with master gardeners to develop Lee County projects. The future projects include a butterfly garden at Wilderness Road State Park, demonstration areas at the new Extension Office, and the Summer Junior Master Gardener Day Camp. The Master Gardeners, along with the Extension Office, held a program on March the 1st in Pennington for home gardeners called Cabin Fever, and I helped with that. On my section is on food preservation. The Lee County Extension Office held a tobacco gap workshop on February the 23rd with 35 people who participated. The class was required for growers with contracts for all tobacco companies, and production topics were covered. The Lee County 4-H Livestock Club members competed at the Southwest Virginia Regional Stockman's Contest on March the 12th, with a total of 12 youth from Lee County participating. Robbie Burchett received the 3rd highest senior individual. Jeremy Cosby received the 10th highest senior individual, and Hunter Howard received the 6th highest junior individual. 15 youth went on to compete at the Block and Bridle Stockman's Contest at Virginia Tech on March the 18th, and they had to, this is the part where they had to identify the feed, the equipment, the meat cuts, and the breeds. They also had to judge a class of heifers, bulls, hay samples, and meat, and then there was a general knowledge quiz with that. And they did well in that competition as well. Lee County 4-H FFA cattle working teams competed at the regional contest on March the 25th in Meadowview, and then on April the 2nd in Fort Chiswell. And she goes ahead and lists the coaches that helped her. Justin Miles, Austin Dean, and Noah Harder's team qualified for the state competition on April the 16th, and they did participate in that event on the 16th. There was a total of 15 youth that are in 5 different cattle working teams. And she goes on and lists exactly what they have to do and go through. She has worked a lot with those youth, and they have come a long way with that.
Did they get 8 state?
I'm not sure. Okay. That's quite possible, yeah. And then she had 2 apple grafting workshops at the office with 25 folks who participated in that. And of course, she still does farm visits and that kind of thing. Our youth program assistant, Leslie Harless, in January, February, and March, did 107 lessons with children from kindergarten through grades 5. She has 3 different curriculums that she uses depending on their age. The Oregon Wise Guys, the Healthy Weight for Healthy Kids, and the Teen Cuisine, which she's done those with like the teens at Thomas Walker in the FCS classes. And the 4-H report, our 4-H agent has been out on sick leave since February 17th, so her report is a little short this time, but she did, in January, she worked with the group, with her kids in 6th grade and the 4th and 5th graders also. And then she arranged for, there was 5 teens who attended 4-H Day at the Capitol in Richmond with a volunteer, and that was at the end of February also. Then the Family and Consumer Sciences report, which is my area, just some highlights. I did food safety training with the FCS classes at Thomas Walker. There was about 100 students that participated in that. I also served on the interview panel for our newest employee who came on board April the 10th. She is an adult family nutrition program assistant. So she started April the 10th. She went a week for training, so she's back in the office, and then I think she goes a week next month. But she will be working with adult audiences where Leslie works with the youth. So, and then a lot of my time, of course, has been aggravating Mr. Poe over the new building and all that. We've we've come a long way on that, and of course, I've met with the contractors some and stuff too. I wanted to, of course, for the returning board members, you're familiar with how extension is funded, but it is budgeting time, and I wanted to just review a little bit of how, you know, the funding comes to our office. We are funded cooperatively. That's where the word comes from state, local, and federal funding. And of course, our university that we work under is Virginia Tech. But the county puts forth a third of the salaries for our 4-H agent and our agriculture agent. Then where I'm shared with Scott County, it's Scott County and Lee County split my third. So, you know, a sixth of my salary and benefits and a third of the agriculture agent and the 4-H agent. Now, as far as our administrative assistant and the 2 program assistants, the county doesn't contribute to their salaries. Those are all state and federal funds. They go into their salaries. So there's 6 people in our office, and the county contributes to the salary of 3 people. So I just wanted to reiterate that we're very thankful. And of course, you know, and then you provide, you know, workspace and all that. And we're very, very appreciative of our new building and all the support that you all have given us. So I'd be happy to answer any questions if I can.
I don't have any, I think you've got to do a great job.
Thank you.
As you know, we get a letter from Virginia Tech every year.
Yeah, I know.
Evaluation.
Yeah. Evaluation time. We always look forward to that.
Well, this is the 3rd year I have participated in the tree grafting clinic.
Uh-huh.
And I got baby apple trees sitting around everywhere.
Awesome. Cool. That's awesome. Yeah. Tomorrow I'm having an edible arrangement workshop. So if you want to drop in, you might be able to sample some of our projects.
What does that consist of?
Edible arrangements are a really big business away from here in more populated areas. It's like a big fruit bouquet, and so I'm going to do a class on how to make your own. Very much cheaper than what and we can't even order them here. We don't have any place near here to order them. But it's just like a fruit bouquet. Just, you know, the pieces are cut
I
like.
thought you was going to tell us about all these flowers around here that we can eat.
No, but we could do that sometime. Yeah. I'd like to have a foraging workshop sometime with the greens and the wild.
Really good.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Thank you all for your.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Ashley Long, you have something to say?
Again, thank you so much for seeing me on my off month. The reason for my visit is I'm here on behalf of the Tourism Committee. The town of Pennington, in partnership with Spearhead Trails and the County of Tazewell, has brought the Fisher's ATV to Lee County, which they're going to be here in May. And I've kind of highlighted, this was their update to me back in February, and I've kind of highlighted the reason that I'm here. The cost for them to come was $30,000, and what they're going to do, I spoke briefly about in the last meeting, is they're basically doing a television show that's going to reach an estimated 152 million households. And part of that show is going to be filmed in Lee County on our ATV trail. The Spearhead Trails contributed $15,000 to that, and Tazewell County and the town of Pennington split the $7,500. Town manager Keith Harless sent us this and requested funds of $2,500 to compensate the town of Pennington for what they are spending to bring them to Lee County. I talked with my committee about it, and my committee made the suggestion to bring this before the Board of Supervisors and kind of get your all's input as to whether you all would like to supplement the town of Pennington, the $2,500 for Fisher's ATV. So that's why I'm here. If you have any questions, I'll do my very best to answer them. Mr. Slimp may be able to also answer some of your questions, as he is on the committee as well.
I don't have any questions, but I have some comments.
Okay.
I have watched this Fisher ATV program on TV. It's very good. I watched the one when they did it in St. Paul, and they did it down next to Pineville, somewhere down in that area. And they do a good job promoting. You know, that's what this is all about, is tourism. And I think it'd be great, especially reaching that many households. You know, these people are going to want to come check it out. And also, your signs are up, and they look good.
Great. So glad to hear that. Yeah, thank you. You did a good job.
That's all I have.
Questions? Anybody?
I do agree with Mr. Moses on the signs.
Okay.
I think I passed every one of them.
Great.
The one that they wasn't ones in between Big Stone and Duffield.
I thought he did really well.
Yeah, they look good.
I'll pass that one to him as well.
They show up very good.
Great.
It's needed. Anything to get us before that many people.
Right. I guess now it's whether or not you all want to contribute to the $2,500 to the town of Pennington. I think that's the real decision. Yeah, right.
We need to wait to bring this up, new business, Mr. Poe, go ahead and act on it.
You can address it now.
I'll make a motion that we put the $2,500 in it. It's a very small price to pay for the advertising you get out of it and potential tourism that you're going to receive from it. And I think that trail over there's been doing really well. And when they get the building built, the campground going, it's going to be nice.
It's a huge asset.
I'll second that.
One question right quick. Pennington Gap's share is $7,500.
No, the remainder of the 70, let's see.
Theirs will be 5,000, theirs will be
Right,
5,000.
exactly, yeah,
Support half of it.
right,
No,
a third.
Third of it?
Right.
Okay. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, passes.
Thank you so much. We have our committee meeting this Thursday. If anybody would like to stop by and see what we do, we would welcome you. Thank you.
That's 6 o'clock. 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ashley. I'm lost. Yeah, treasurer's report.
As of today, we did not receive the report from the treasurer's office from last month, so we'll pass that on when we receive it.
Okay, public expression. Floor is open for public expression. You have 3 minutes. We're gonna adhere to that this time.
state our name.
I say your name, where you're from, and what you hear about.
I'm Paul Harris. I'm here about the Thomas Walker Park, and this is my grandson, Zach Harris. And actually, what I'm going to talk about tonight that I didn't talk about last month, we talked about history last month, as you well know. But Zach, about a year ago, well, almost a year ago, Zach came up with the idea of building a playground at Thomas Walker by the pool as his Eagle Scout project. You know, this will, if this is completed and approved, he will become an Eagle Scout. And it's probably going to be one of the largest Eagle Scout projects this area has ever seen, to tell you the truth. A lot of times it's a flagpole and a bench or something like that, but he he decided to try to do a playground because of our history at the park down there. You know, just wanted to carry on the tradition basically. And he and his dad researched what it costs to do the playground equipment that you'll see down there now. And it's about $25,000 or $30,000 to buy it. And Craig Jadwell mentioned that the playground equipment's at Ewing Elementary School and not going to be used. And that reverted from the school board back to the Board of Supervisors when the school closed. So Zach came before this board, the previous board, in September of 15 and asked two things. He made a presentation and gave a little history and asked the board to allow him to move the playground equipment and to erect it at Thomas Walker, which is also, of course, owned by the Board of Supervisors. And he got unanimous approval and a really good reception from the board. And they gave him an applause and congratulated him and so forth. And of course, then he began, and he and his dad and mom and little brothers took that playground equipment apart. I went one day. I'm a little older than they are. I didn't last the whole time, but they took it apart, brought it to my house, and lately, after the meeting here last month, they cleaned it up and started putting it back together. We started cleanup last fall, and Zach's going to give you all, Robert, he'll start over there with you, going to give you some pictures to look at that'll show how, kind of the little history of what's, it's beside the swimming pool, Robert. You all need to go by and look. It's erected, you'll see in the pictures, you can scan through
Be on
those.
the other side.
It's at the end of the parking lot, okay, on the east end toward Rose Hill. And it's already erected, the playground's erected. We're trying to get railroad ties right now. As a matter of fact, Larry Mosley and his wife and her sisters donated dirt to us, and you know, really good dirt, matter of fact. Larry, and we've been getting that hauled last weekend, and as a matter of fact, Craig Bellamy and Tim Roberts are down there as we speak right now hauling a little bit more dirt. We need a few more loads that we couldn't get down there Saturday. It's really good topsoil. We're covering, I mean, you'll see how grown up it was. It's just a grown up mess. It had embers out of the furnace from Thomas Walker up there and old cinder blocks. We thought we were going to be able to bush hog it, but man, oh man, it's such a mess we couldn't do it. So we got a little track loader down there and cleaned it up and cleaned up the area down toward the girls' softball field because you couldn't really see the white rocks. So we cleaned all that corner up, cleaned it up. They cleaned the equipment up, and we, you know, Robert, you mentioned last month, you know, it's hard to get people to help. Kay and I, last week, a few days ago, decided to sit down and write down all the people that helped on this project. Over 30 people so far that have come and brought equipment and tractors and post hole diggers and coming and helping, you know, put it together, put this playground together. And I mean, we're talking, thanks to you all letting us move the playground equipment, you're talking about a $75,000 or $80,000 project that we're getting done really for nothing. And we're going to, you know, he wants to do a picnic shelter down there too, beside of the playground. So we're going to do some sort of sheltered picnic area. Malachi Mitchell doesn't know it yet, but he's going to make a picnic table. I guess I'm asking him right now. But,
You bet, buddy.
but we're going to build the picnic tables, build some sort of shelter, and that'll be between the playground and the girls' softball field. So we think this is kind of like the icing on the cake. You know, it'll enhance the whole area. People make it a little bit more of a destination where people come to swim, picnic, the kids play on the playground equipment. I mean, I'm really, really proud that he had this idea and wanted to do this. It's very commendable. And it's just, I mean, you'll see, you pass the pictures around, and he's already got, as part of this, what he's doing is learning how to get people together to do things. You know, that's what it's about, is continuing this community part, this community effort down there. And he's raised some money already to pay for the picnic shelter and picnic table material. And so we think he has enough money to do all of that, so it's not going to cost anything. We're not here to ask for any money. here to, just to update you. Two of the members
Thank you, Paul.
were here. One more thing I would like to ask is that back to the park name. We've been working on getting some plans together to put a sign up, and we've gotten some donations toward putting a sign up down there. And I would like to ask you all to let us put a sign up that says Thomas Walker Community Park.
That's on the agenda. We can talk about
Got
that.
3 items down. I appreciate you, young man, for everything on the park. Looks real good.
Yeah, I thank you for your efforts also.
Y'all look at the pictures, we'll get them later.
Thank you. Any more expression? Anybody else? Okay, I'm gonna close the floor. Going once, going twice. Okay, floor closed for expression.
Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
do you all want to make a public expression about the road?
About the road down there?
Hello, my name is Daniel Carmack, and I'm with Monte Vista Golf Course down on the other side of Lee County there. And we have actually been a business there for nearly 40 years. And over those 40 years, we have hardly ever come up to ask this body for anything or address anything, and have tried to just be good citizens and let you folks do your job, and that's kind of exists there. But in the last little while, we've had some trouble with a road there, which is actually Golf Course Road. At the current state it's in is gravel. It's very rough. It's just a very rough road to travel by car, by truck, by whatever you're driving. There's over 20 residents on that road. And with our business alone, there's between 70 to 90 cars in and out of there to play golf and to enjoy the golf course itself. There's also, the trail that's down there, the old railroad track, and some other things that the county has put in there. And one of the things that we wanted just to bring before this body is we'd like for you to consider maybe making that road a county road. I think we've been informed that it doesn't belong to the county at the present time, that it's a private road. However, a lot of the citizens, like I said, over 20 residents are using it, and it's also providing commerce for Lee County. It's not just sitting there, it's being used. And looking at some of the numbers, there's quite a bit of folks who are coming into Lee County and providing tourism dollars and tax dollars that we're paying to the county, that are coming from Middlesboro, that are coming from Harrogate and Tazewell. We have folks that come up from La Follette, from Harlan, from Corbin, London, Kentucky, that drive down to play golf. So one of the things that I hear in research and talking to other friends and residents of Lee County is that Lee County is wanting to bring in more tourism. You want to bring more people into Lee County to provide more tax revenue, which is great. And there's several things around the county that can do that. But on that end of Lee County, the residents and the golf course, we're trying to help that as well. We're also providing for Lee County. And so what we're asking is that the county would consider making that a county road and helping maintain that road. And because it makes it tough for our customers to get in and out there, and the residents who have lived there for so many years, it's hard on a vehicle. And that end of Lee County is important as well. And we just ask that you would take that into consideration, and that you would serve those residents as well. I know that this is Robert's first stint on this body, and we had a gentleman that represented us before, but in our opinion there wasn't very much representation. And so we are hoping that you will give us the opportunity and hear us when we say we want to be good citizens of the county as well, and we need your help.
Okay. All right.
Peggy Howard. I'm one of those residents on that road. And as he said, it is a terribly rough road. From the beginning to get on the road, it has literally been a ditch to have to cross until just about a week ago. There was some folks who doing some blacktopping, and I don't know if it was leftover blacktop they had or what, but they did fill that in down there and has made the entrance into that road easier. But on up, right at our driveway, the people have been dodging some of the rough road there and have started destroying our property. And it has weeded in, and now it's taken over some of the upper of the driveway, and now they're beginning to even weed down on the lower part of the driveway and get into our grass. As a matter of fact, Saturday, golf course, people were coming out and not courteous at all to hardly let you by, and there we were giving them the right of way, and right in our yard they go. So we do need help on this. It's not only to better the community, like the gentleman just said, and to make it better tourism there for their commerce, but even it will help the whole situation of how it's destroying the residents' property. And we appreciate your help.
Who owns the land that the road is in?
I'm not sure at this time. The farm had been sold, and prior to that, it was the Peters responsible for it, and since then it has been sold, and I don't know if that has gone along with all of the farm or not. So,
How many families are on that road?
well, he quoted 20, I'm not
Is
sure.
that okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I went down there, I've been down there different times, and you're talking probably about 4-5 of a mile down to the walkway is what we're talking about.
Yeah, I've been down there
And,
several times.
it's-
Beautiful golf course.
Yeah.
It's a shame it's not used by Lee Countyans. As talking with the people down there, said it's mostly used by people from Kentucky. And I've talked to people up here in this area, and most people don't even know it exists,
Well,
which is a shame.
the people that I've talked to down there about that, you know, they would be satisfied if it was just chip and gravel, other than what they've got down there for the time being.
Dane, you want to address that situation?
It's a private road right now. To bring it into the state system, it would have to be done, well, there's two ways to do it. Either the property owners, adjacent property owners can improve it to state standards and then request that it be taken by the state, or it can be taken in as a rural addition through, by action of this board. We have not had rural addition funding years and years ago was available each year. We'd get over $100,000 every year, and it was typically divided equally among all the districts, and so you, at that time, it took about $20,000 to construct 1/10 of a mile of roadway, and so that you would do about 1/10 of a mile in each district. The cost of construction has gone up drastically. It averages, depending on the conditions, it'll average $30,000 to $50,000 per 1/10 of a mile now, in some cases. And depends on what has to be done as far as the right-of-way. Residents have to be willing, if there's not a 40-foot right-of-way there, residents have to be willing to donate the needed right-of-way, not only to construct the road, but to do the ditches and handle the water runoff, things of that nature. Currently, we have approximately $100,000 available in rural addition funds because we haven't done any rural addition projects in years. It's that 110 to 130,000 annual that we used to get in our program. We see maybe $5,000 a year coming in now. That's how much the VDOT budget has been reduced, because it is only a small percentage of our construction budget for the county each year, and that construction budget has shrunk drastically over the years. Another thing about, you mentioned tar and gravel. The rural addition program, they as part of the program, you cannot take a road in and just have it gravel. It has to be paved. It has to be brought up to the state standard for paving, and so it would have to be paved in order for them to do that. My understanding is, and this is from personal information as well as through VDOT, any more contractors out there that do this work, they charge you about the same amount for tar and gravel as they do for asphalt. So it makes no difference, and VDOT prefers asphalt. They won't approve. I won't say they won't approve tar and gravel, but they look at asphalt is what they're looking for. So that's the only two methods I know of to get a road brought into the state system, get it included in the state secondary system. Is either through private funds to improve the road to state standards or through the rural addition program.
Well, Mr. Polk, can we take a vote on that to put that in the system?
You need a rural addition application would need to be filled out first, because part of that application is signatures of the residents agreeing to donate any needed right-of-way. Because if you vote to do a project and you don't have the right-of-way and you get into it, then if VDOT begins expending funds in preparation or engineering or anything toward that project, and then you can't get the right-of-way and you cannot build it, then the county is liable for those funds. It can't come out of the rural addition funds. Then it would have to come out of strictly county coffers to pay for any advance work that they did. So an application would need to be completed first, identifying the road. VDOT would go out and view it. Now, I've been advised from the WISE office that particular road, if they can do it with in-house crews, and this is just a ballpark estimate, that it would probably cost at least $100,000 to do that. If they have to bid it out, that price, he said, could go as much as double that.
Where do they get the applications at?
Our office has those.
Because most of these people, I've talked to them back there, they're willing to do or give up property, whatever the case may be, or sign an easement right, whatever has to be done to do that. And so what would they do? Come to your office and pick up an application?
We can, if they'll leave an address here, we can mail them an application.
Yeah, it takes one person taking it upon themselves to make sure that all this information is done.
Yeah.
And like a leader, and it does require you finding out exactly who owns the land. Sometimes there's a area that you don't know who owns that particular piece of land. And you talked about county roads. There's no county roads in Lee County. There's either private roads or state maintained roads. And so you got to get it into the state system. And
that's different from our neighbors. Virginia, I'm not sure, we may be the only in the USA now. There were 3 states that still were all, either the state maintained all of the roads. But in Kentucky and Tennessee, it's just the opposite. The counties control a lot. The state handles the primary roads, but the county handles the secondary roads, but they receive state funding for that. But in Virginia, we've been under this system since 1938, that if it's maintained, it's maintained by the state. The county has no road system.
do you have enough room down there to make another 9 holes? I mean, it'd be easier.
You never know.
To get, yeah.
Can one of you get the applications and take that in hand to get that taken care of?
Yeah.
And then we can, you gotta start somewhere, so.
We appreciate it.
Mr. Poe, did Mr. Bailey not have the estimate done on that road?
I can't remember. A lot of times, some of that was done by the supervisor directly with the VDOT office, because we've not taken applications for rural additions in several years, because we still have several on file from probably 2003, 2004.
Right.
Back in that era. And we've just not been able to do any because we didn't have the funding. And the problem is compounded because the longer time goes, the funding has slowed down, so we don't gather enough funding to do a project. But then because of that delay, the cost of construction keeps going up. So you're sort of chasing.
And I know we've not had any monies to do any roads with, and I'm 99.9% sure he did look at that road. And because of the funds and the estimate that he was given, it was probably not a formal estimate, but it was an estimate.
I know we had a conversation about it, one evening. Because I brought it up about what an asset that the golf course was.
Yes.
And Mr. Bailey being a golfer, he was concerned. We'll help you. You get the snake by its head, we'll pull on the tail for you. Okay? All right. Anybody else? Guys, you see anybody else you want to talk? Okay. All right. Treasurer report, you said it's not available tonight. Public expression, approval of the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, before you take a motion on that, there is a correction on page 18. At the top of the page, the appointment to the Crooked Road, there's been some misinformation even from that agency in our records. We're trying to correct those as we can. So we had stated that as a one-year term appointment. It's actually a 4-year term. They amended their bylaws a couple of years ago and changed this, and they'd not made localities aware of it. So we can still take the appointment that was made, but it will be for a 4-year term that will expire on June 30th of 2020. So that correction will be made into the minutes.
We need to revote that.
If your motion's made just to adopt the minutes with the correction as stated.
Who made the original motion?
Well, you don't have to go act on that motion. The motion tonight is to adopt these with the corrections.
Okay.
So moved.
Here a second? All in favor of approving the minutes as modified? Aye. Okay. Payroll warrants have been issued. Do I hear a motion to approve?
There's no motion needed on that.
All right. Delegation, is Mr. Staff here?
Have approval of disbursements, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Okay, I hear a motion to approve disbursements.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Approved. Okay, Mr. Staff, the St. Charles Rescue.
It's me.
That's you? Okay, come on up.
Excuse me. I've been talking to Dana about this. I suggested that I come talk to people. I don't want to take up much of your time, but I got a problem with the rescue squad in St. Charles. I've been there 20 years. I've been on the floor, I've been in the park department. I started off with it. I've been 20 years of my time in there. I've not got much money out of it, very little money. And I don't want to see it go down. I can't get nobody, the only thing, the man, the state man will tell me that he'll take my license. And he said it didn't get straightened up sometime that he would do that. Now I stopped there tonight, they knew I was coming down here, so they said he was running. But they'll say it tonight and tomorrow they won't, next day they won't. We've got ambulances that's sitting up there, 2 ambulances, one of them won't run because they won't fix it, won't have it fixed. And another sitting there running, nobody running. I talked to Mr. Poole, he says there ain't nothing he can do. Looks like there's somebody have an overseer over there somewhere. There has to be something done about it. You don't have enough rescue squads in this county now. You'll notice you've got people running out of Big Stone, Jasper, and everywhere over in here. So I don't know what to do about it. I hate to see it go down. And I'm getting too old. I'm 84 years old. And I'm still trying to hang on to it. So there ought to be somebody having anything you could do or tell me to do that. I'm more than trying to do. You over their money, you control their money, that's one thing. They got their money this year, didn't they, supposed?
I'd have to go back to my record.
Well,
I
that's
don't
all.
know when they got their last
I'm
cut.
pretty sure
Not
they
sure.
did. So, any suggestions or any way you can help me, I'd go and appreciate it. I've got a fire department that's been with me ever since I've been there. I've never had no trouble with it. Never, no, they're still there, most of them, what I meant passed on. Got 3 of them here with me now. But you let your license go down. If the man comes and takes your license off the law, you gotta apply for a new license, so what you gotta do, you gotta file. It might take you 3 months to get it, might take you 6 months. Don't make no difference. You're gonna be down 6 months. Anyway you go. If you even get people, I can get people to run it. It's just getting people that'll take them in there and let them run. I've got 2 men will come there anytime I ask them to. Now, whether they're gonna do this or not, whether they're running or not, I don't know. But I ain't got no confidence in them doing it. And you gotta have a rescue squad that you can depend on 24 hours a day. You can't depend on one day and not be there the next day. You know, whether there's somebody that's 15, 20 minutes away to die before you got them to the hospital, could help if you have a rescue squad. That's what I'm looking at. I wish you people would look at it from my point of view. That's about all I've got to ask them. If there's any suggestions, if you do anything, I sure appreciate it.
Did you say that there was a license or not a
Pardon?
license?
Pardon
Is
me?
there a license or not a license?
You're licensed to operate.
There is, you do still have a license.
We still have our license, yes, we still do. Yeah, but I was talking to him 2 days ago, and he told me he's gonna give us a little time that if we didn't do something, he would pull. He's got no choice to do that. Understand? They're running people from, Keokee runs some up there now. Pennington Range is running up there now. Jasper was over in here. So, it's not that we don't need them. We need more of them.
Is the problem from who's running it? Is that what you're saying?
There's a woman, I mean, I'd rather just keep her name, I don't like to spread people's names out
Right.
over the phone. So I told, I don't like to publicize nothing like this, the more we publicize it, the worse it gets.
Do they have a full staff?
Pardon?
Do they keep a full staff on hand?
Well, they got 4 people working over now. We got a full staff ready to go in, I've got paperwork to show you. I've got a full staff of people I can put in there tomorrow, but they won't let me. They say I can't do it. I'm about a notion of going to the law about it, see if I can't do it. There's people holding something up that other people will take over and run. And they some way, I was told the county could do something, could handle that some way. You need to talk to your attorney about it, see. If you do anything, appreciate it. Now, Dana helps me all he can, and Dana can just go so forth. And tell me what to do so much.
I'm not sure I understand what's going on. The staff is fighting amongst each other?
Well, what it is, they're disagreeing to pay the people. Now, a rescue squad now is paid by Social Security, you understand that. They pay your hospital bill, they pay ambulance bill, just like you pay it. They might send you a bill, we might send you a bill for a little money, but we just overlook it because it's not up to food, is it? So you get paid, but they're refusing to pay the EMTs and the people that work there. They just won't do it. I've got, what, 10 names, 15 names. I've got 10 names on the rescue squad, so they'll go over and run anytime, and all those licenses, except for EMT. And they're not licensed for EMT. And you've got to have at least 2 EMTs, one to run days, one to run night. Somebody needs authority to tell somebody, to let somebody put 2 EMTs in there. You want to
got 2 MPs?
I can get 2. I don't have 2 now. I don't have them. They say they got 2. I see one of them, and I'll keep my mouth shut about him. But they said they had another. They called another guy's name, but I can't remember. But like I say, they'll run today. And them 2 guys said, "Here's the way they'll tell you," and they'll run the next day, maybe the next day, and then maybe they won't run for a week. Well, what's people doing for a week? You got to call Pennington. You got to call Jones.
You gotta get somebody there, and that takes a lot of time.
So you need help.
Pardon?
I say you need help, you need some help.
I certainly do.
Mr. Scaff, who is over rescue squad?
Pardon me?
Who's over this rescue squad?
Well, I think, I can't really tell you that. I reckon as far as I reckon as far as I know of now, there's two people who are fighting over the deal. So the one kicked the other one out, and the other one's still there. And this lady's name, the way I understand it now, is Jean Hawkins, so that's what I understand now. And she's got,
Is she the captain?
well, she can't be a captain because you have to be an EMT to be a captain.
Well, how do you determine who is the
Well,
person in charge?
Whoever we would hire as a captain would be over the squad. The fire department, chief's over the whole thing, really, as far as that goes, when you're on wrecks and stuff, it's all his responsibility. But we put him on as captain, and yes, we had, I started that 15 years ago. I started with this lady you're talking about. We have one of the best on. Most people will tell you that. I don't mean to take your time with it. I'd like to get out of here and leave. But I feel like I put 20 years in for nothing. It's nothing.
Yeah, it's something we can look into, you know. And we will.
You know what kind of guy.
All right, Mr. Staff, we appreciate you.
I
And we'll
appreciate
look
you
into it.
too.
Thank you. Okay, financial appropriation, school. Do a monthly appropriation, take a look at it. To hear a motion to approve this, the appropriation, yeah. The appropriation 16-007.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman. Monthly appropriation 16-007.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, it passes. And we have supplemental appropriations.
Motion to approve.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
New business. No, old business. Thomas Walker Park.
Mr. Chairman, I've received a letter, and it's requested in the letter that this be read at the next meeting of the board. If it's no objection from the board, I'll read it at this time. This is from the law firm of Hunter Smith Davis. It's addressed to the Lee County Board of Supervisors. Dear board members, I represent William H. Starnes Jr. regarding his $12,000 donation to Thomas Walker High School for naming the baseball and softball complex in honor of Mr. Starnes' father. Mr. Starnes was very distressed after reviewing the Board of Supervisors meeting which took place on March 15, 2016. He feels very strongly he was vilified based upon misinformation which has been circulated in the community. Mr. Starnes asked me to write this letter to correct this misinformation. I respectfully ask that the letter be read aloud at your next public meeting and that the letter be included in the permanent records of this meeting. I want to begin by saying both Mr. Starnes and I have great respect for Thomas Walker High School. Mr. Starnes attended Thomas Walker High School. Both of my parents also are from Lee County and attended high school in Lee County. Both of Mr. Starnes' parents were career teachers in Lee County. Mr. Starnes' father founded the agriculture department of Thomas Walker High School and directed it for 18 years until he retired from teaching. The donation Mr. Starnes gave was portrayed in the March 15th meeting as though Mr. Starnes came to the administration at Thomas Walker High School and offered money in exchange for naming the sports complex after his father. This is the opposite of what happened. Mr. Starnes emceed a ceremony at Thomas Walker for a Virginia Historical Highway marker honoring his father. While Mr. Starnes was at this ceremony, he met several of the Thomas Walker officials. On the same day, one of these officials, the head baseball coach, orally solicited a donation from Mr. Starnes in exchange for naming the baseball field in honor of Mr. Starnes' father. The coach subsequently repeated the solicitation to Mr. Starnes in an email message. The idea for naming the baseball field came from a Thomas Walker official. The donation and naming of the field were solicited by a Thomas Walker official. This was not Mr. Starnes' idea, which he paid Thomas Walker to implement. When Mr. Starnes accepted this offer, he believed he was doing a good thing for Thomas Walker. This is a classic example of no good deed goes unpunished. Mr. Starnes was unaware of strong feelings in the community that the sports complex at Thomas Walker should be named after the community or others who were involved with establishing the park many years ago. Mr. Starnes was unaware his donation and the naming of the baseball field would be interpreted as minimizing the efforts of those who worked to develop the sports complex. It was very distressing to Mr. Starnes that persons in the community interpreted his donation in such a manner. It was also distressing to Mr. Starnes that certain persons portrayed his donation as overbearing or self-serving. The principal of Thomas Walker made a written request to the Lee County School Board to name the baseball and softball fields for Mr. Starnes' father in return for the donation by Mr. Starnes. This request was unanimously approved by the school board. After Mr. Starnes made the donation to Thomas Walker in good faith, the funds were used to renovate the baseball park. Thomas Walker then conducted a public naming ceremony which Mr. Starnes and his wife attended. Mr. Starnes had no reason to believe his donation would spark negative feelings toward him. A few weeks after the naming ceremony, Mr. and Mrs. Starnes were in Lee County with some friends. They went by the sports complex to show it to their friends. They were surprised the signs which had been erected in exchange for the solicited donation from Mr. Starnes had been removed. Over the next several months, Mr. Starnes attempted to get an explanation from officials at both Thomas Walker and the school board as to why the signs had been removed and as to why the signs were removed without notifying either Mr. Starnes or the head baseball coach of the issues in question. Thereafter, Mr. Starnes' attempts to communicate with school officials were either ignored or responded to in a tardy fashion with evasive responses. Mr. Starnes was further distressed by the unprofessional way he was treated after Thomas Walker solicited this donation. Months after removal of the sign, Mr. Starnes was informed by the superintendent of schools that the school board could not approve the naming of the baseball and softball complex because the land on which the complex stood was owned by the Lee County Board of Supervisors. While it may be true the Board of Supervisors has ownership of the sports complex and may have the exclusive right to name it, the fact remains that Mr. Starnes agreed to make the donation in good faith to Thomas Walker in exchange for naming the sports complex after his father. While the Board of Supervisors may choose to name the sports complex in a fashion other than in honor of Mr. Starnes' father, Mr. Starnes had a contract with the school board which was breached by the removal of the signs in honor of Mr. Starnes' father and by a subsequent public rescinding of the sports complex's name by the Lee County School Board. Accordingly, Mr. Starnes expects either the public restoration of the sports complex's name in honor of his father or the return of his donation. We thank you for giving Mr. Starnes an opportunity to correct the negative information which was aired at your March 15th meeting. Signed, very truly yours, James N.L. Humphreys of the firm Hunter Smith and Davis. This is also copied to Mr. Starnes, to the Lee County School Board, to Rob Hines, Chairman of the Lee County School Board, Rick Watson of the Powell Valley News, and William J. Sturgill, attorney.
I'd like to make a couple comments on after reading that. After that last board meeting and Mr. Harris made a presentation that he had made, I figured since we didn't know all the facts from one side that we probably didn't know all the facts from the other. So I actually called Mr. Starnes. I got his number from the school board. I spoke to the man probably 4 or 5 times. It wasn't necessarily the issue of them not being able to name it. It was more the issue of how it was portrayed that he had actually approached the school and that he had won, you know, trying to name the field after his father and everything. And I even had a couple meetings with Mr. Harris, and I appreciate your time on that, Mr. Harris. I spent several hours on the phone, emails, talking to other people. And I think it all boiled down. I just hate it happened the way it did, because I do think that the man honestly and truly cares about Thomas Walker. he wrote a book about his dad. That picture's taken down there at Ewing Elementary School on top of that hill. You can picture it. That's a book he wrote about his father.
Is that him?
As a child, yes. When they was questioned as to when his dad taught there, I'm assuming because he passed away in 1964, and Mr. Starnes actually graduated Thomas Walker in 1950. He did start 2 scholarship funds down through Thomas Walker, one for agriculture and one up through the UVA-Wise. One was class 1950, and I think the other one he had actually started himself. I know the school board has voted and sent the money back to Mr. Starnes, and I do think that it probably should have been named the way it was named all them years ago. I just hate that it all went through the stuff that it went through, and I think as far as representation of the county, if they decided that the man couldn't have the sign up, they could at least have the dignity to make a phone call and tell the man that they took the sign down. And the big reason behind the suit that he filed is that I was the first person that spoke to him since last fall from this county, even concerning the issue, and that was probably the only means that he had. And I just wanted to put all that information out there, and just, I mean, it's basically both sides, the facts of, you know, everything that was told.
So we got it still in terms.
He felt like it was misrepresented, basically, and I mean, there was some comments made about coming in on a white horse with a check, and one thing that really bothered him, that nobody was here from the actual school system that was involved in the incident to at least let the public know what the truth of it was. So there was a whole lot of things that come out from both sides of the incident that I don't think that the public was actually aware of.
Do we have anybody here from the school board, school system here tonight?
No, sir, but they did vote to
They
give
did.
the man his money back. I do know that for a fact.
They do.
And with all that being said, I will make a motion for it to remain called the Thomas Walker Recreational Center.
Well, I appreciate it.
Community Center, however it's worded. Community Park.
Community park.
Whatever was placed on the grant back in the 80s for the funding, then
I appreciate that.
just truth's the truth, regardless of that boy's name.
What Mr. Harris wants now is permission to put resurrect sign there.
Yes, correct.
Do we need to make the motion on the naming, or?
No, it's already named. I mean, that's what's in the minutes.
Okay.
We want permission to erect a sign.
Say so.
I'll make that motion.
Well, we've got a motion on the floor. We either need to deal with that motion, or he needs to amend his motion
I will
to
amend
include
it.
information.
If that is how it is worded at this time, I will amend the motion. I know last time that it was brought up on the naming, so I was just making clear that
Okay,
that's what it would remain.
you will second the motion, Larry?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, while we're on the school issue, I talked to Mr. Poe about this. Jerry Brown lives down in Ewing.
Jerry who?
Jerry Brown.
Jerry Brown, yeah.
He would like to buy the flagpole, elementary, for sentimental reasons, or put it up at his house. Well, I spoke to Mr. Poe about that, and he said that the board would have to pass that, and then he said that would have to be advertised and a sealed bid for that. So can we have make a motion to vote on that?
We can sell it one of two ways. It has to be competitive. We can either do a seal bid or go down there and auction it off. I don't know how you hold an auction for a flagpole.
I guess it'd be responsible for taking it down.
He's gonna take the
Every
pole
week.
down. He
Every
wants the
week.
pole, he's gonna take the pole down, he's gonna do it all. He wants the flag.
I know that's awkward. I have to go through that process, but that's the only way that
So
code
what do you
allows us to
Well, I would
dispose
make
of
it- I
property.
would go ahead and make a motion then, and we take seal bid, advertise on taking seal bids to sell the flagpole.
I'll say.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So,
How long has he got, Mr. Poe, when can he send his,
I'll
have you
have-
gotta advertise that
Yeah.
for 30 days?
Well, it doesn't have to be advertised for 30 days, a minimum of 10 days. I'll probably put it out there for like 2 weeks and have a deadline and give instructions on how to submit the bid, and we'll go from there.
see, he'd rather have a cedar pole.
Have an auction on it.
Auction on flag.
Okay, are we to, the, board appointments,
Yes.
Paul? Okay, looks like we got, hospital authority.
I'll make a motion that we reappoint Lloyd Sonny Martin, George Cribbin, and Patton Speed to the hospital authority.
Second that
Aye.
motion. All in favor? Ninth District, Development Financing. What does that position consist of?
The Ninth District Development Financing provides tourism-related
Okay,
loans, small business loans,
okay.
to the Ninth District region. They're not all that active, just to be honest, but
Then have you pay back, reason.
I reappoint Ashley to Seals to the position.
I'll say.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, board appointments for May, looks very slim. Okay. New business.
Chairman, the first item is transfer station pay request number 11. You have a copy of Green Construction Company's pay request number 11 in the amount of $70,613.14 for work completed today on that project. The architect has reviewed the request, recommends approval, and I concur. This project is now approximately 80% complete. The metal building construction and interior push walls are nearing completion, and we anticipate the facility being fully operational by July 1 of this year. We haven't had a progress meeting in a couple of months for different reasons, but there's one scheduled for tomorrow morning, so we'll have a better idea of what the contractor's estimate of what the completion date is at that time. But it's moving along and progressing pretty well now that the weather's broke.
Just to go up there for the last few weeks has been, like the first trip we made versus the next one I made was unreal.
Well, so much of the work was basically taking place on grade with all the concrete work, and now you've seen steel come up out of the ground and metal going on, so it makes a whole lot of difference. So I would request approval of the pay request.
I'll make that motion to approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next item is the Extension Office Project Pay Request number 3. That project also is moving along very well and is very near completion. We anticipate being able to move them no later than July 1. It may be earlier than that. As Ms. Mullen said, she has been chomping at the bits to try and make the project move faster, but it only can move so fast. And I've tried to make her aware that there's a process we have to go through, but it is moving along well. The current pay request number 3 is in the amount of $46,888.65. It's been reviewed by the architect and recommend approval, and I concur with that.
I went out there by that yesterday. First chance I had to do anything. And that's a beautiful building. Yeah.
They've matched up pretty well. It's always hard to match brick. You can't get a perfect match.
Oh, I thought it was a good match.
After that many years, because that brick was made back in the early 70s.
Second.
All in favor?
Next item, Department of Social Services has submitted a request to the board for your approval to provide a salary supplement to Department of Social Services employees during the current 2015-16 fiscal year. The supplement would not be added to their base salary. It would simply be one check in an equal gross amount for each employee. The 15.5% local funds to provide this supplement would not exceed $5,500 and are currently part of their budget already. There's no additional funding being requested. This has been recommended for all staff. It was submitted to their Social Services Board for approval, and they recommended it to be submitted to the Board of Supervisors. It's required that you approve anything like this in order for them to effect it, so they are requesting your approval.
That's something their board had passed. and
Yes,
we
yes,
have to-
their board has recommended
Yeah,
this.
the past.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we,
So this is money they've already got, basically?
Yes, it's money already in their approved budget for this year.
okay, I'll make a motion that we approve this supplement.
Second.
All in favor? Can you approve it?
The next item is Bureau of Prisons utilities contract. Typically in the past, when there's been increases in rates, we just get them, we go through the public hearing process and notify the Bureau, and if they need documentation, we provide it. This one's gone a little bit differently, and it is per the contract, but this is the first time they've handled it this way. Along with PSA, we've been in negotiations with them for several months now regarding a proposed rate increase for sewer treatment services. We've finally reached a suitable agreement. We need to approve 2 contract modifications, in order to affect this increase. Enclosed with the memo, there are copies of the 2 modification agreements. They're very similar. There's only slight changes in the language in each. Modification number 0001 provides for the rate increase to $7.50 per 1,000 gallons of wastewater, effective December 16th, 2015. That was the first counter offer made by the Bureau, and that's why it carries that December date. Through further negotiation, modification number 0002 has been drafted that changes that effective date of the increase to June 1 of 2015. Both the rate and the effective date have been agreed to by the PSA, and approval of these modifications by the board will allow me to sign them and then bill the Bureau for the prior month's increases. So this is just asking for your approval on the rate increases and the effective dates that have already been agreed to by the parties concerned. Because this is a contract agreement, I needed to bring it back to you because the modification changes the contract.
This has been ongoing for a little while, too.
Oh, this has been ongoing for a year.
Because I know the last meeting I went to up here, this was one of the issues that was being discussed.
Yep. We had a face-to-face meeting with them a few weeks ago, about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And like I said, this is the first time they've handled it this way. They kept going back and saying, well, we have to do this. This is the way the contract reads. And I said, yeah, but we've been under contract for 15 years, and this is the first time we've done it this way. We've probably had 6 rate increases. But this is the first time we've had to go through a contract modification. Always before, we just, once it's been accepted by them, we change the billing and they pay it. But it's been handled a bit different, but it cleared the air. We each were able to sort of give our side of the story and explain the processes that we have to go through. So I think everybody learned something from being able to sit down and meet together. And we will have another contract modification coming out because we did a water rate increase 1.5 years ago. And so the contract officer now wants to do a modification just to get everything legal. And I understand they're held accountable to higher authorities as well who come in and audit them. And if their contract documents are not in order, they can be held personally responsible for them. So I would just request approval of modification number 0001 and 0002. County gets no money out of this. This is pass-through money. that we pay PSA the same amount that we receive from the Bureau. And that's another thing that we talked to them about, and they talked about. The reason that's done that way is because that's the way the Bureau requested it when they first came into the county. Now, after some years of operation and dealing with the entities involved, I think they see the wisdom in getting the county out of the process and them just dealing direct with the water authority and with the PSA for the contracts in the future. And that's probably what they'll do. This contract's still good for another 4 or 5 years, I think. So when it expires, we'll probably they'll probably negotiate separate agreements themselves and take us out of the picture.
I make a motion, we approve the Bureau of Prison Utilities contract modifications 0001 and 0002.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item F, security cameras request. Sheriff Parsons has requested that additional cameras be placed at strategic locations inside the courthouse to enhance security measures. We've pretty much got the outside covered. You can't cover everything, but I mean, you know, all the entrances are covered and key places. The initial request on this was for 6 additional cameras. However, after some further evaluation, they felt that 8 cameras were really needed to provide the desired coverage. In order to build this system into what we've already got, we need an additional 16-channel DVR and a monitor. The vendor's quote for all the equipment with 6 cameras is $6,671.10. It wasn't until after we got the quote that they felt like we needed to go ahead and get 2 extra cameras. And I had in there, typically those are $300 each. I talked with the vendor yesterday and he confirmed that that's pretty much what it would be. So the total cost for 8 new cameras and the new recorder and the monitor would be roughly $7,300. This would be providing additional cameras in each of the 2 courtrooms. Right now, the cameras that are in here have a limited field of coverage, and they're directed in both this courtroom and the other courtroom. They're directed primarily at the bench. They're looking at installing second cameras from the opposite angle, which gives you coverage on the audience and keeps them apprised of what's going on there. Other cameras would be located strategically inside the entrances to the building where there are not cameras now, and in main corridors.
Is this a digital system thing, the DVR, is it digital?
Yes.
The
DVR that we have now will not handle additional cameras.
Right,
It's maxed out.
So many.
Right. It's a 16-channel DVR as well. It's already maxed out at 16 cameras. So to add 8 more, buying a 16-channel for this system would give us 8 more ports. If we wanted to add 8 more cameras, we could.
Does that door that you go out by the registrar's office, does it stay locked?
The back door?
Yeah.
No. That's one of the things, when I get the bid out for the new doors, those doors would be replaced. All three of the old wood doors, wood and glass doors in the old building would be replaced with metal storefront doors like we have at the main entrance down here. Once those were in place, it would be easy to just lock that door from the outside. It would have a panic bar on it just like these others. You could still go out that door as an escape or to exit the building, but you would not be able to come back in that door. So we've already discussed that once that was done, that's one of the security measures probably that would be taken to be to lock that. We've talked about the possibility of locking the side door, but a lot of the judges and the others that park in that general area use that side door. So, and it's a little more visible than people being able to come in. Not many people use that back there. There's a few that come up from the parking lot that are going up to court that know that door is over there. But we've already discussed locking it. But that would still be a fire escape route.
Okay, I'm good.
Well, this basically serves the whole community, honestly, so everybody comes in.
I mean, it's for security.
I make a motion.
I'll second that.
second? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
The next item has to do with the new extension office as well. In an effort to contain costs for that office building out there, we deleted the inside storage area, not for office supplies and things like that, but for general storage, which they have quite a bit of down there. And we discussed with them that they actually, when we looked at that, they indicated that they would probably prefer an outside storage building because it would be easier for them to load and unload items rather than having to take it out of the vehicle, take it through a door, down a corridor, and into a storage area. So we told we would work with them on an outside storage building when the time came. We've obtained a price quote of $4,500 from Cumberland Garden Center for a 12-foot by 24-foot building. This is similar to the buildings that we use at our solid waste convenience centers. It's just much larger. This price would include two 12-foot shelves on the back wall, a double door entry, delivery, and setup on our site. And this is the high wall model. It's a couple of $100 extra for the high wall model. I've got a 12 by 12 at the house. Those walls, the way they come down on the side, you're limited to what you can do on that side wall. So this gives you about 20 extra inches of height on those side walls for storage by having the high wall model. These are metal insulated buildings. They're pretty much rodent proof. If you keep the door shut and keep the vent closed, you don't have any problems with them. And it should provide all the necessary storage needed by this office. So we'd request approval of the board to make that purchase.
Is this building wired?
No.
Is it finished inside?
It's the same finish inside as it is outside. What you've got is a thin metal skin on both sides, and then it's a insulation, like a composite insulation material bonded between the two.
Where I'm leading to with this is, are they gonna come back later and say, but we need this building wired, you know, we need electricity out here, we need plug-ins out here?
They should not need plug-ins in the building. I mean, there's no point to have electrical outlets. They may want a light in there, but they could probably use a battery-operated light. Most of the storage and time they're gonna be in there is gonna be in the daylight.
Okay. I'm just looking at it.
Yeah, and, I mean, you know, you get into wiring, that becomes another issue. I will check on that, but the only thing that I would see would be possibly an overhead light.
But you know where I'm leading, you know?
Yeah.
They'll come back, hey, we need light in here, and then you know, you're gonna pay $500 for the light in.
I'll volunteer Gary and them, they can install that, it'd be no problem for them.
What we gonna do if Gary ever leaves?
Well, we've got another Gary.
I hope so. I hope so.
So this is something y'all basically agreed upon when the building was built, and you actually modified the building to build this
If we
prior?
had built this space, we certainly didn't have an area this large, but even the storage area that we would have had inside the building would have probably cost, under contract, finishing out like the building, double this or more, based on the square footage cost of new construction.
Because it'd probably be concreted.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
You'd had additional slab space, you know, you'd had finished walls, all that. It would have been additional costs that would have far exceeded the $4,500.
Yeah, that's expensive. When you start filling those in or doing the inside on that, you get in the high dollar.
Yeah.
I guess if it was agreed upon to change the actual structure of the building, that this has been taken care of, I'll make a motion. We give them a building.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item is courthouse restroom partitions. Several of the courthouse restroom partitions have been damaged over the years and are in need of replacement. Some of the doors have been damaged, and in some cases, the marble frame and panels have been damaged beyond use. They've actually been broken. And these are the original that when this building was built in '77, And I don't know if the ones in the old part were updated. Most of these are in the new part, but a couple of them are over in the old part. Southwest Heating and Air serves as our general maintenance vendor and has obtained pricing for both metal and a plastic composite material. We didn't price marble. we didn't want to go that far. But to replace 5 toilet partitions and 3 urinal screens. The install costs for both types are listed there. Metal type construction is $7,650. The plastic composite construction is $9,652. The metal units are probably a little more subject to vandalism as far as being kicked or scratched, but they can be painted. The plastic composite is a little more durable, but if they are damaged, it's sort of like the marble. It'll be harder to repair them. So based on
metal, what type of metal?
If you've been in restrooms where they have metal partitions, that's basically what you're looking at.
The little thin.
It's a tubular steel post and then metal panels.
Well, now I know stainless steel's real cheap right now.
Okay, we didn't price that. Again,
Stainless is about $120-some 4x8 sheet.
Okay.
About as cheap as it's been in a long, long time.
That just seems awful high for 5 years.
Yeah.
I have priced these type units in the past, but they are high. They come as units, and of course they have to come and measure everything. Everything has to be, installed. First, you've got to take out all the old, of course. And I don't know if you've been in some of these where there's damage. Both restrooms, men's and ladies, at the treasurer's office are damaged. Both of them outside the clerk's office in the old part are damaged, and the one across the hall here.
Does this include doors and everything?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's a little bit
Yeah.
better. I'm just thinking something in between them.
How likely are the metal ones to rust with
No,
acid?
they're coated. The way they're coated with paint, and you don't typically see rust on them. I'm not saying they can't rust. If they get scratched and damaged, they will. But again, you can touch up that paint damage. If you keep that touched up, you shouldn't have a problem with them.
Yeah, you get them in navy blue or black, so the ink don't show up.
Yeah.
Then they take a knife and carve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I make a motion we approve the metal construction. Here a second? Stand here on the screens.
I'll second. That's probably what you're gonna get.
Okay.
And it only sounds a little better if you get the doors and everything with it instead of, I'm just thinking something in between them.
You talk about them little
Dividers. Yeah.
dividers.
Now this is the entire,
Okay.
Well, some of them be the whole length of the bathroom too, like probably.
yeah, the whole width.
And all that.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
And where the handicap cars.
Yeah.
The next item, the hospital loan renewal. The $1.7 million loan to the Lee County Hospital Authority was for a 1-year term at 0.4% interest, which is what we were getting for deposits, investment deposits at that time. The loan will be due at the end of this month, and the authority is still negotiating for reopening the facility, and for the funding to repay the county. The authority has scheduled a meeting for April 26th, and I felt that's one reason I wanted to go ahead. They haven't had a meeting in several months, and I wanted to be prepared because I knew this could likely come up, but I wanted to be able to report to them whether or not the county was willing to renew the loan for an additional year to allow time for them to obtain the funding to repay it. I would suggest that the interest rate remain the same.
Are we getting closer?
We'll know more
The 26th.
April 26th. I've had some individual discussions with 1 or 2 members, but nothing collectively with the full board, so. I understand progress has been made, so.
Good.
I talked to Jeff Mitchell when I went to that Southwest Virginia Hospital, or Health Authority meeting. He was meeting with Wellmont and Mount States the next morning. That'd been last Wednesday. But I've not heard back from him.
I just wanted to know what the pleasure of the board was as far as renewal.
I don't think we really have an option.
So this would basically help them out in a chance to try to get the hospital open.
Yes.
basically. Yeah, I don't think there's anybody up here wouldn't like to see the hospital back open.
I'll make a motion. We renew the loan for a 1-year term, same interest rate.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The last time under new business, pool employees, and I put a note in there, the applications closed yesterday. And in the past, the board has authorized the supervisor from District 1 to screen the applications and select the employees. I don't know if you want to follow that same procedure, but that's what we've done for the last.
I'll make a motion that we continue that process.
And I'll second.
You're welcome, Robert.
Thank you.
I want to take a vote on that just to make it legit.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And I just have, got a couple of other items I can either address them here, or if you want to go down to reports and recommendations of the county administrator. Can we go ahead and cover them now? Okay. The new scales over at the transfer station have been installed. Of course, they're now started construction of the scale house building, so the connections and in the scale house equipment can't be installed just yet. It has been brought to the site. Gary has it on site over there, but until they get the scale house finished, they can't hook everything up. In the meantime, the contractor has submitted an invoice for the scales, less a $2,000 retainage to wait until everything is hooked up and done. But everything else is fine as far as the installation of the scales. So total cost of the scales was $68,786. This invoice is for $66,786, and I would request approval to pay this. It still leaves us the $2,000 until they complete hooking everything up. They have delivered everything on site that will go in the scale house. They just can't hook it up yet.
What was the holdup on that, Dan? I know they was laying block the other day.
Well, he's not really held up. He had to do some additional grade work. Once they got the scales, once they got the approaches done,
Yeah, the grade.
he realized the grade was off a little bit up the hill, so he had to do some additional work there. And they're about ready, if all goes well. I believe he said today they'll pour concrete later this week for the foundation on that and get things moving. So once they get going, they should be able to get it done pretty quick. It's not that
Yeah,
complicated.
the grade work stuff fixed when I was
Yeah.
over there.
Who's doing that, Gary?
Yeah, they're doing it in-house.
On those push walls, have they got the metal installed on those, or?
I got a progress meeting in the morning. I haven't been in, I've been over there, but not been down to actually look at the building since they.
I didn't know if they prepared the walls to accept the metal or not when they.
The forms for the push walls were up. They had not poured them. They had either just poured them or they had not been poured yet the last time I was over there, because I could see the forms inside the framework of the metal building, because they didn't have the metal on the building at that time, just the red steel. So, but they probably poured them by this time, because that's been a week and a half ago, I guess, when I was over there.
I make a motion, we pay for the scales.
Second motion.
Nah, they're not gonna come back with a change order on us, are they?
No, I mean, these were sold as a package deal. It's
All in favor?
Also, I have a resolution, and this came to me at 4:30 this afternoon, so it definitely was a late entry. The IDA is seeking to, probably 10, 12 years ago, they got a USDA rural development business development loan grant of $100,000 from rural development. You use those funds to provide loans to small businesses in the area, startups and assistance for expansion and things like that. They're repayable loans, so it becomes a revolving loan type deal. They have an opportunity to obtain an additional $100,000 grant if their application is approved. So this resolution is a resolution of support for that application. It has no stipulations of funding for this board. It's simply a resolution of support for their application. The application is due May the 6th, and so we didn't know when the recess meeting might be or anything, so we wanted to go ahead and get this in front of you tonight. If you'd like, I can read the resolution, or most days it's pretty short.
Yeah.
And to the point.
I make a motion, we approve USDA rural development grant, 16-008. Here a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
One other quick update, we were scheduled to have a public hearing for a new animal ordinance tonight. I made a mistake on the advertisement. I was cutting and pasting from a previous ordinance, and I failed to change the heading on it. It was correct, the language was correct down in the body of the advertisement, but the heading of it was wrong. It stated another ordinance, and so I had to pull it, and we will hold that next month. It will be scheduled for the May meeting. I apologize for that. The only other thing that I've got new budget printouts, and I've got just a one-page list of some things there. I didn't go over every change I made. I went through all the departments and made several reductions. What I drew this up on, there's a few areas where there's maybe some chairs or a computer that need to be replaced or something small that I went ahead and dealt with in the budget or left in budgets. All major projects and all major purchases I stripped out of the budget. Rather than, I felt that would give you an opportunity to see where that would take, how far down that would take the deficit, and then we can prioritize, and that's what this list is. This is what's actually been stripped out and what's still in there, what's been requested. It gives you an opportunity, we can sit down and sort of try to prioritize what is needed specifically within the next year and what possibly can be postponed for a year or more. I mean, some of these, when we get into some of the work on and around this building, these are things that I've been proposing for several years now, but we've never come up with the money to do them. But I couldn't strip other people's out without stripping the ones that I'm putting in there. So that's how I've done this. And by doing that and making some other recommendations for reductions, we're down, or at least what I'm going to hand you is going to have a deficit balance of $581,622, which is considerably less than the 1.6 million something that I handed.
So you get close.
Yeah, but this is creating. This is going to create some issues, but I'll give you a copy of this sheet, but to show you what I've cut out, which this one is this is no pain. The Commissioner's Office had included $30,000 for the tax map digitization process, or project. That, if the vendor indicates that he's almost through, this is our third year, and it was scheduled as a 3-year project, so if all goes well, we'll get the final invoice on that before the end of this year. Funds are budgeted for that. That project will be over. I eliminated half of that because I hadn't been able to talk to Chris. He was out yesterday. But after talking to him today, we could probably eliminate another $15,000 of that. I think that'll be fine. The electoral board, I eliminated the $187,000 for the new voting machines. They have, and that is for these little portable booths as well.
You had the same idea?
Those have not been mandated.
They will be by next year.
They have, and our machines have not been decertified. But I did put $10,000 in there in case they have to buy a replacement machine between sometime in the next year. And that may have to be bumped up a little. I don't know. We need to discuss that a little bit more. General District Court had requested some things. I reduced that by $3,500 because some of the things they requested, we have a line item in general properties called repair and replace furniture and equipment. We can take some of that out of that. Same thing in the Circuit Court Clerk's office. They are requesting a new plat cabinet, which I left in there, but they're also requesting some air conditioners and smaller items. That can be taken out of the general properties. Under the sheriff's vehicle expenses, the only thing I included there was for the payments, the note payments on the 2014, 2015, and 2016 vehicle purchases. We got a total of 10 vehicles, I think, out that we owe, that we're making payments on. So that's just the debt service on those. Stripped out anything for new cruisers. 4 new cruisers in this coming year would cost approximately $51,500. That's a $24,500 for a down payment. We usually put 1/4 down. And then approximately $26,500 to equip those cars. The lights, cages, striping, and I included the push bumpers in those as well. So it gives you an idea there. Emergency services. Alan had requested $52,000 there for the computers and radio consoles for E911. He addressed that tonight. That's the grant that we missed the application on this time that he's going to apply for in the fall. That one's in a situation, anytime people see equipment that's 10 years old, they begin to panic when it's technology equipment. That equipment is 10 years old. I asked him yesterday, is it still working good? Yes, they're not having any problems with it. The only problem is when it reaches that age, your manufacturer and your vendor no longer provide maintenance support service on it. They will not provide maintenance support. So if one of those consoles goes down or one of the computers goes down, it's a replacement more than likely. Sometimes you can scrounge up parts, but a lot of times you're out until you get it.
Did any of that tie into that we approved earlier, the thing that went through all the counties where it's going to the, none of the equipment actually was in that?
No, the Entrada, that is just the backroom equipment for the 911.
Okay,
This is the actual consoles that control the radio transmissions that are in front of the dispatchers and the computer that controls that. But that's, I eliminated that. Animal control would ask for $10,000, $5,000 for a horse/cattle trailer, and $5,000 for painting the pound. The paintwork at the pound we'd already budgeted for this year, and with Department of Corrections assistance with labor, that project will be completed this week or early next week.
Hopefully this week.
And so we got by with just the cost of the paint. So that is no problem there. Litter control and recycling requested a new truck and a toolbox for that truck. I eliminated that request. Courthouse renovations and building remodeling expenses, I eliminated all of those, everything. $125,000 for the exterior repairs and maintenance, $250,000 for remodeling circuit courtroom and district court clerk office, and the $30,000 for demolition of the old extension office building, $80,000 for the old jail and extension office site work and paving. So stripped all of that out. We need to prioritize and decide what needs to be done, what has to be done within the next year. We have, and as much as I want to see the parking and some of that improved, we have got to do some evaluation on this old building. We have got to do that within the next year or so, because if it's not done, we're going to create some safety hazards on the exterior of the building. So I mean, it's not may not be as expensive as what I'm afraid it might be, and that's why it needs to be evaluated. But it has to be by professionals who know what they're doing and how to spot the problems. Solid waste management, eliminated $8,000 under convenience centers. He's got a cost in there for developing a new site at Olinger, if we were able to get that. He had proposed 16 new dumpsters at that site, as well as the fence and all the grading and site work. I think if we only purchase 8 new dumpsters specifically for that site, we purchase 16 every year. We purchase 8 new there and keep some of the existing cans, because we typically don't put all new out anywhere anyway. That's a little bit of savings. I budgeted $29,000 under new equipment, which includes 16 new dumpsters countywide and the new truck equipment shed that we've already agreed to that we're swapping with forestry. Also eliminated under new equipment funding for a new tractor, a new pickup, and a snow plow, and reduced the transfer station line item. He had the cost of the scale house in there, and I eliminated that since it's currently being done. And expenses under there have been less the last few years. We had bumped it up to $25,000 this current year, but they haven't spent that much, and so I'm dropping it back to $15,000. So those are the changes, the big changes you're gonna find here. There's some others. All constitutional offices, their salaries, we adjusted those to comp board approved. So regardless of what the department requested, we've already changed those to what the comp board has approved at this point. Excuse me, I have not touched.
I'm sure those don't match exactly what was on that paper we got.
No, they won't match exactly.
I didn't figure.
In some cases, in some cases they would be very close. Some of them had theirs projected very close, but some of them had quite a bit extra in there. Now, I have not touched the county side salaries yet, so I know there's work that we can do there, but rather than, I started to take them back to just what they are now, but rather than have the accounting office make changes continuously, I thought we'd wait till we got into a deeper discussion on that and see what you wanted to do, what you were looking at or potentially thought you might be able to do. And then when we make the change, we can just make a one-time change and move with that instead of constantly changing the numbers. So I'll distribute those. If you want to discuss the issue on the St. Charles Rescue Squad a little bit further, I would suggest we take that into closed session under legal counsel. It won't take long. I can do it. I can give you a little more.
Well, I guess that's about it, isn't it?
That's all I have.
Well, I'll make a motion, go in closed session. I don't have the paper with the,
Why don't we have a copy?
I don't know, it's always on that end.
2.2-3711. 3711-7.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Look here, we're gonna have to get one of the papers on this side.